Why is it that trend lines seem to work like magic for some traders, but leave others feeling stuck and confused? Well, it's not magic, it's method. Hi, I'm Ben. I'm the founder of Altrady. If you've ever drawn a trend line, crossed your fingers and hoped for the best, don't worry, you're not alone. But you can do better. Altrady is built to help traders like you cut through the noise, find real opportunities, and trade with confidence. Even if your chart looks like you mistook technical analysis for a stage lighting design with lots of lasers. Today, we're diving into fine art of trendline trading. You'll learn what trend lines actually are. And no, they're not an actual laser show. How to draw them the right way, so they actually have some meaning. And how to trade with them, spotting reversals, writing breakouts, and using volume to confirm your moves. Alright, let's get started. First off, what you're seeing right here is the Altrady trading tool that allows us to do these technical analysis using trend lines. So if you haven't already done so, please register for an account. It's free and you can use this charting software to your advantage. So when you get to Altrady Trading Terminal, you have a trading view chart in front of you. And in order to draw trend lines, you can use the trendline tool like this. So what's a trend line? A trend line is a simple line from point A to point B, and you can have them in the upwards direction or you can have them in the downward direction. Trend lines will give you an indication of where the price is currently moving. So as you can see, recently the price has been going down, but in the past it was going up, giving you a clear indication of the market structure that is currently at play and how it got there from the past. So are all trend lines drawn on the chart correct and usable? No. You have to draw them correctly and you have to learn how to do that. So let me show you how I draw my trend lines and how I find them efficient in finding good setups in the market. So let's remove these lines. And as you can see, I'm currently on the highest time frame possible. Does that mean that I'm trading on the monthly chart? No. You can trade on any interval that you want. If you want 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, weekly, whatever your preference in style is. If you like fast trades, then you go on a lower time frame. If you like slower trades but more percentage movement, then you go to the higher time frames. Now do keep in mind that you backtest your strategy on the lower time frames or on the time frame of your preference to make sure that it actually works for you in your favor. Not all markets are actually suitable for the lowest time frames because they tend to be too choppy. So where do we start by drawing the trend lines correctly? As I said, we're on the monthly chart and we can draw the trend lines. Now, I was using the trendline tool, but I actually prefer to use the ray tool. This allows me to set a point A and a point B, and then I can still see the continuation of the trend. I can do that again from point A to point B. And I can do that again from point A to point B. And point A is always the previous point B. So this was point B on the first line, this is point B on the second line, and this is point B on the third line. And we can draw perhaps a fourth line. Now, in order to easily identify them as uptrends, I like to give them the uptrend color. Like so. And then for the downtrend, we have to look for the highest point on the chart to the next highest point on the chart. But as you can see, I cannot draw anything here that doesn't cross this trend line, making it impossible to draw a monthly trend line. So I would just leave it on the chart for now, like so. This is not a valid trend line, but we have to move down in time frames. So if we move down in time frames, we can now make some adjustments. So we can place this one here and we can already see that is this a good one? No, it's not. So we continue to move to the next line where it actually is good. And that's this highest point. Then we can make some adjustment to the previous lines to get a better picture of the correct trend line. And now they're better connected. As this one is now correct, I will also give it a nice red color. Right now there's not more that I can draw to give you clear trend lines. So we have to move down to the daily time frame. Again, we can make our adjustments like so, and we can check if there's anything else to draw. And at the moment, there isn't. So we can go down to the 4 hours, and again, we don't have it. But what we are starting to see now is that this trend line is actually getting quite strong. Because on the 4-hour chart, we can see that it has 1, 2, and 3 clear touch points. Meaning that the next time might be actual breakout of this trend line. Let's see if we can draw a steeper line. Well, we cannot draw it from the uptrend because our low point is currently going down. So a steeper trend cannot be made just yet. What about on the hourly? On the hourly, it's actually still the same. We can make a slight adjustment to this one. And you can see that this point is now slightly moved away from the trend line. But you could still count this as a bounce of the previous trend line. So previously this was here, this was the trend line, and now it just broke out a little bit, was just like a small fake out. But those are just better indications that the next time this happens, it might actually be a good breakout. So now that you know how to draw these trend lines, when do you decide to enter? Well, let's see how this chart unfolds. So we can see that the price is going up from this point. And now we can actually add another trend line. So again, we take the lowest point from here. And we can give it our uptrend. We can make point B a little bit clearer actually, like so. And now we have our steeper uptrend. So this means that this is now the trend line that we're following. And that's great because what we can see now is that we can see these two trend lines are crossing each other. So we either have two options. So the price is either going to break out this and then continue to follow it along that line, or it can bounce back, break this trend line, and then continue to follow it around this line. We will probably see a steeper line if that happens. But if not, then this will be our safety line. And safety line still means that when it crosses, you get out of the trade if you're in it. Now we also see that this is support and resistance line. So if you want to wait for confirmation, then a good opportunity would be to wait until it closes above this line and then to get in. But you can also get in straight away if you're comfortable with that. If you think that the trend line is very strong, that was broken, and then you don't expect a breakout again, then you could go in basically immediately. Using a take profit can already be done. And for our safety line, so the price crossed here. If it moves back down here, our stop loss would be roughly around here. Now we can say how much we want to risk. Let's say we want to risk 5% of our balance. We can actually increase our leverage to 5. So let's just set the leverage to 10 so that we have enough funds. And then we can adjust our risk to 5. Now we need to look for where we set our take profit. If the price moves quickly to our take profit level, then we want to get out. So if the price moves to this support and resistance line, then we really want to get out. Otherwise, we will get out if the price drops below this support and resistance line. So we can get in now, and we can see how the price moves. As you can see, that price broke now through that support and resistance line, giving us that extra confirmation that this will be probably a very good trade. Price is continuing to go up. And what you see now is that we can actually draw a new steeper line. So we can draw a line from here to here as our uptrend. And we can zoom in a little bit more and draw even more safety. Now what we can do in this case is we can actually already move our stop loss higher. Because if it breaks down to this stop loss, because if it now breaks down to this safety line, then we want to get out and lock in our profits. Giving us already a nice 3.6% profit. Price continues to move up and actually hit our profit target, giving us a nice 9% profit on this trade. Now, why did I not wait for the break of this trend line? Well, this price moved up very quickly, and when that happens, there's usually a correction to the downside, often paired with some false breakouts. So locking in those profits early allows me to get into the next trade quicker, while still securing a nice profit. And of course, you can do this for the downtrends as well. All right, so here's the deal. No, Trendlines won't tell you exactly when to click buy or sell. But when you use them right, they'll help you see the bigger picture and stop trading like you're just winging it. Just remember these final tips. Don't rely on Trendlines alone. They're powerful, but they're not solo performers. Pair them with support and resistance, volume, and moving averages to get the full picture. Confirmation is your best friend. Don't jump in just because a line was touched. Look for volume, wait for candle closes, retests. Give your trade a reason to exist. And practice, practice, practice. The more you draw trend lines, the more natural it becomes. Trend lines are structured with a purpose. Use them right and you're not just guessing. You're navigating with a plan, not a prayer. Hop into Altrady's backtesting tool, test on Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whatever you're into. And train your eyes to spot real structure. Thank you for hanging out with me. Now go draw some lines with purpose. And maybe, just maybe, trade like you meant to all along.